We always talk about the importance of visiting museums. Well, definitely in the museum, you can learn a lot about culture and history. Imhotep Museum is located just next to the Saqqara Pyramid, and here inside you can find a lot of things to learn about the age of building the pyramids. Well, we're going to move inside to bring you more about this interesting era and more about this beautiful museum. It is one of the must-see places. Definitely, we have some famous museums located everywhere in Egypt, but this one is very special. Why? We're going to tell you right now. Saqqara is one of the most extensive archaeological sites in Egypt. It was the cemetery for Memphis, the capital of ancient Egypt. It is one of the virgin archaeological sites. The site is dominated by the step pyramid of King Djoser, which goes back to 2700 BC. It is one of the oldest stone structures in the world. It was built for King Djoser, one of the greatest kings of the Third Dynasty. Ancient Egyptians built pyramids as tombs for the pharaohs and their queens. The pharaohs were buried in pyramids of many different shapes and sizes, from before the beginning of the Old Kingdom till the end of the Middle Kingdom. So originally meant as a tomb, this pyramid was designed and built by great architect Imhotep. The pyramid is built as a step pyramid, 60 meters high, and consisting of 6 steps, each one built on top of each other and smaller than the one below. Today, it is considered as one of the oldest stone structures built by man, and the first time the ancient Egyptians would attempt to use limestone. Actually, after visiting this great site, it is of great importance to learn more about the builder of the step pyramid. And to learn more about him, make sure after visiting the step pyramid to stop by the Imhotep Museum, which is very close to the Saqqara Pyramid. Imhotep was a genius in architecture, sculpturing, and several fields of medicine. He was the first real doctor known in human history, as he invented many medications and drugs that were used to cure a large number of diseases. Moreover, he was the first real architect in the history of the world, and the first to use stone columns in constructing many structures in ancient Egypt. The Imhotep Museum was constructed in Saqqara to perpetuate the memory of Imhotep, one of the most skillful architects of ancient Egypt, and the first one who thought of erecting the tombs of the kings and queens in pyramid shape that we can see today. He has constructed the step pyramid of Djoser, the oldest surviving stone building in the world. This was the first time in ancient Egypt to construct a pyramid, mortuary temples, and all other components of a royal necropolis using stones. Before the invention of Imhotep, the deceased used to be buried deep inside the ground in tombs that were made out of mud bricks. All these concepts changed with the inventions and the creations of Imhotep. Imhotep was able to construct the first pyramid in Egypt, the step pyramid of Djoser, and a whole complete complex around the pyramid that included the temple of the valley where all the nobles and princesses gathered to bury the king. The temple valley was there, and actually all the people who wanted to farewell the king gathered, and then the king, his closest companions, and the priests would march to the funerary temple where the mummification and rituals were carried out. Imhotep, with his great new discoveries and ideas, was considered to be the first and maybe the most famous architect in ancient Egypt and all over the ancient world. Imhotep was the first to construct temples in ancient Egypt using stones. He was the first who used columns in constructing different structures, and he was also the first to construct pyramids. The first one to have the ceilings of the temples constructed with stone blocks, and the first one to build and create a statue above the ground level. was the real architect in the history of humankind who had a clear architectural vision, and the first architect who had a plan, and he implemented this plan in reality. Moreover, Imhotep was the first astrologer in history, and some historians and scientists assert that he was the one who invented the ancient Egyptian style of writing, and he also created many different things. He had many talents and skills in several fields of arts, and he had composed and written a number of poems that were famous in ancient Egypt among the royal family and the common people as well. Imhotep has also invented the black ink that was before him in ancient Egypt, and it was largely used in the ancient Egyptian writings. Due to his exceptional skills and talents, Imhotep had worked in many important positions in the reign of the King Djoser, who belonged to the Third Dynasty. He was the general director supervising the affairs of the royal palace of the king. Imhotep became a vizier in the reign of Djoser, as well as he had many privileges that were specified only for the pharaohs and members of the royal family. The most mysterious character of the life of Imhotep was that he just suddenly disappeared, and where there was no mentioning about his death in any of the ancient Egyptian historical records. Moreover, his tomb was never discovered up till now. And the most astonishing achievement of Imhotep was his design and construction of Djoser step pyramid in Saqqara. This museum is one of the most interesting sites. It hosts around 250 of the most valuable displays. It consists mainly of 6 large halls situated over a large corridor with 2 halls and then 4 other halls on the 2 sides of the corridor. The first hall of the Imhotep Museum, located in front of the main entrance, hosts the ancient base of one of the statues of King Djoser, 4 portraits illustrating the architectural art in ancient Egypt before and after Imhotep and how it evolved greatly because of him. first hall of the museum also hosts many other displays and portraits dating back to the old kingdom of the ancient Egyptian history. The second hall of the Imhotep Museum in Saqqara is called the Missions Hall, and it displays the results of excavations that were carried out in Saqqara over a very long period of time, as Saqqara is considered to be among the most important archaeological sites in Egypt. The Missions Hall displays about 62 items that consist of a statue for god Amun that was transferred from the Egyptian Museum of Antiquities and a coffin in the shape of a mummy which is coated with gold. There is also the physician collection that are divided into two rows. The first has 21 bronze statues and the second has 20 offerings tables and vessels which are all made out of pottery except 3 that were made out of alabaster. There are also 5 items made out of limestone, in addition to 2 funerary portraits and 2 limestone blocks with colored carvings. The third hall of the Imhotep Museum is the Saqqara Hall that hosts 76 historical items with 60 containers that were made out of alabaster. In the Saqqara Hall, there is also a wonderful portrait carved in a limestone block, where the production of alabaster in ancient Egypt is portrayed. There are 16 statues as well that date back to the Old Kingdom, and 1 statue that dates back to the Middle Kingdom. The most famous and important display in this hall is the statue of Ptah, designed in the shape of the Rida, and another statue of a man and his wife situated inside a sarcophagus. The fourth hall of the Imhotep Museum hosts 8 examples of mosaic walls, and they were gathered from many places. These items give wonderful examples of the architectural features of different structure in ancient Egypt, like columns, ceilings, and grounds. The fourth hall of the museum has a small bronze statue of Imhotep, where he holds a papyrus in his hands, and another statue of King Joseph made out of limestone. The Hall of the Tombs of Saqqara hosts 9 collections. One of them hosts a wooden coffin, a statue, a model of a boat, and also a model of a burial chamber. The other collection of the Hall of the Tombs of Saqqara includes some funerary furniture, a colored mummy mask that was excavated by the Japanese mission. This hall also hosts the portrait of Famine in front of the entrance of the hall. This is besides a small statue of the King Pepi I, some papyrus, and also a small obelisk. Afterwards, there is the Hall of the Library that has around 300 books and manuscripts that include periodicals and the publications of the Supreme Council of Antiquities. In the same hall, there is also the personal belongings of the famous archaeologist John Philippe, which includes a compass, a camera, and some photographs. The next section of Imhotep Museum in Saqqara is the Tomb Hall that consists of a real-size model of an ancient pharaonic tomb. This artificial tomb contains a wooden coffin and also some excavations that include pottery, alabaster, and wooden items. The mummy that was put in this artificial tomb belongs to Munib, the son of the King Joseph, and it was put in a special display and was treated in a very special way to be preserved. But that was all for today. Thank you all for joining us. Always remember, we will be back to bring you more about Egypt and more about its fascinating sides. And remember that in Egypt, you can enjoy many different means of entertainment. You can enjoy a terrific vacation. The most important part is, what are you looking for? And whatever you are looking for, make sure you will find it in Egypt. That was all for today. Thank you for joining us. Remember to join us again next week, same time, and more on our backpack.